You've confronted crime power before in the form of the mafia when you were Attorney General. You've dealt with having significant power as Mayor of New York during one of the most significant periods in New York's history. And now we're discussing how power has become this new utensil, this new weapon. And I suppose to, in a sense, reframe my first question, I'm asking whether or not like you said, it needs to be executed. I wonder whether the election of Trump will be enough to ensure that even, say, something as personal as your case will be handled differently, or are those cogs within cogs, those wheels within wheels, those kinds of institutions and machines unable to be controlled through government? And if they can't be controlled through government, if censorship's going to continue, if lawfare is going to continue, Trump is still facing the possibility of conviction, am I right? Or at least he's facing sentencing. Like, if those threats still exist, both for you as an individual, Trump as an individual, America as a nation, but beyond that, all loosely understood as new bureaucratic power that appears to be in the service of globalism, I wonder what kind of movements, what kind of alliances, what kind of conversations we need to be having to address that. For example, with your own cases, are you confident that you are going to succeed and win and get back your grandfather's watch? Or do you believe that those kind of heirlooms and perhaps the values that those heirlooms represent might be chewed up in the cogs of a rather less delicate machine, the machinery of globalism?
Wow. That's a very, very good question, and probably the challenge of our age. I am relatively certain that this will be straightened out over a period of time, and that Trump will make major inroads, and we're going to be a lot better off next year and the year after and the year after that. But if you ask me the specific question, will there be irreparable, and has there been irreparable damage done already? The answer is yes. If they succeed, let's just take the watch, and it represents a lot of other things. They can give me the value of the watch in money. They cannot give me back the watch that my grandfather had on the shores of Genoa over 100 years ago when he came to the United States, for whom I am named, and to whom he left it because I'm named for him. And they can't give me that back. Those things, they are doing irreparable damage to. And the law would usually, if we were operating under the usual Anglo-American law, the law would not allow that because it would say it does irreparable harm, and we'll stay that. We'll let them take the things that they can replace with money, but we won't let them take the things they can't replace with money. Unfortunately, we have a judge who has been an activist, a left-wing Democrat all of his life, and allowed me no exemptions. The law actually would provide exemptions for them, and he's ignored it. So I think Trump will make progress. I think we're going to be a lot better off. There will be, you can never give back to Steve Bannon the 4 months of his life that they took, completely unjustifiably. You can't give back to the people that were in Roger Stone's house the shock and the trauma of having soldiers invade his house, FBI agents disguised as soldiers with machine guns, and CNN being brought in to film this farce. You can't bring back what the Attorney General has done to a 71-year-old woman for merely protesting abortion. She didn't touch anybody. She didn't hurt anybody. She's spending 14 months in jail. And you're not going to restore the couple of hundred people that they put in conditions worse than Guantanamo for January 6th, where, yes, there were some that deserved punishment, but none of them deserved that kind of punishment. And some of them didn't deserve punishment at all. And we still have an outstanding murder case that hasn't even been addressed, and that's Ashley Babbitt. I mean, she was killed under circumstances that I can tell you, as a person who has prosecuted homicide cases and had that reviewed from day one, because I had that on day one by experienced homicide detectives. That's a first-degree homicide charge. This woman was a 5'2" woman who was unarmed. There were anywhere near a dozen to 16 police around who easily could have restrained her. And she was shot for no reason by a cop who can't possibly meet the defense of, I reasonably felt my life was in jeopardy. He had behind her, he had police officers dressed up as like SS with machine guns. There was no need for him to shoot her. He had people dressed up that way on his side. And then they hid him for 4 months. They've lied about him. And for them, it doesn't matter that there's an unresolved murder. Now, I come from a tradition in New York, the New York Police Department. There's no such thing as a murder case that we stop investigating. We'll investigate a murder case from 200 years ago if we can get evidence. Why? Because human life is so important to us. And we want to make sure that if we have a chance, if you consider murder, it's going to enter your mind that this is worse than anything else. Well, every single member of that January 6th committee couldn't give a damn that Ashley Babbitt was murdered. They actually faked and exaggerated murders that didn't take place. The police officer they gave a state funeral to died of natural causes. What an outrage. You don't think Nancy Pelosi knew that and staged it with her daughter, who's a Hollywood producer? These are things that have to come out, because if they don't, we'll do them again. And they have to be taken out like a cancer from our culture. For us, I consider what happened to us not dissimilar to the Chinese Cultural Revolution. What they tried to do, starting with Obama, is rip away our culture. That's why they burn down statues. That's why they burn flags. That's why they kneel during the national anthem. That's why they spit on images of America. That's why they falsify, like 1619, the history of America. That's why they changed statues, because people didn't do enough about slavery. But they keep the name Democrat Party, which did everything about slavery. There's no name more associated with slavery that should be changed than the Democrat Party. It was for 100 years the party of slavery. It fought a civil war. Under the banner of the Republican Party, 200,000 to 300,000 white men died to save black men. On the other side, they were trying to enslave black men. And they keep the name Democrat Party. And they try to paint us as racist because, number one, they've got a history of racism. And number two, they're practicing Marxist, the new version of Marxist racism, which was outlined in the 40s by an Italian communist named Gramsci, in which you use race for wealth or poverty. And you divide along race because they figured out we are easily susceptible to that. And we had it almost solved until Obama came along. And Obama started the racial division of America. And what do Democrats do every chance they get? They try to racially divide us. And they are the actual racists.
Let's be honest, most K-Cup pods are serving you mouldy, pesticide-laden rubbish. Chains like Dunkin', they're stinking the place out with their stale coffee and expecting you to say cheers. 1775 Coffee makes sure you don't have to drink a chemical soup when you want a caffeine lift. 1775 Coffee steps in to slap the mediocrity right out of the competition. Their K-Cup pods are filled with single origin, high-altitude beans, hand-picked by people who know what flavour actually is. It's coffee that will slap your brain fast awake. Faster, in fact, than a government scandal. Who doesn't need an injection of this new caffeine inflection? Kamala Biden? Get this stuff down you. You've got a choice of medium roast, dark roast and mushroom blend. Yeah, actual mushrooms like lion's mane and reishi to boost your brain power as well as giving you an immediate lift. Because let's be honest, if your coffee isn't strong enough to overthrow a small government, what's the point? This coffee is for people who don't want a participation trophy. This is coffee for winners. Go to 1775coffee.com, grab your 24-pack and tell corporate coffee to take a hike. Go to 1775coffee.com, grab your 24-pack and tell corporate coffee to take a hike. Caffeine that will help you overthrow the powerful.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.